the
There's a
GitHub.
whole team underneath each head.
This guy's like making like a whole org chart for like a 20-person club.
Saying a corporate structure for the club.
We also had like nothing to prove, like. Tech experience.
Team underneath each head.
This guy's like making like a whole org chart.
Family clubs. Funny shit about marketing, it's on YouTube now.
We also had like nothing to prove. Like,
Bro,
There's also like a tad of a delay.
no name was said, we're talking about Billy Bob. Silly Billy Bob. There's also private now.
alright, so what I'll do is we could download it and then I'll put that out.
Yeah, we get that at the beginning.
Download it, cut it out.
Yeah.
Said, you know, you're talking about Billy Bob. Silly Billy Bob. There's some private now. Echoing?
Because that there's a delay with the audio.
Or I think that was echoing.
Turn your mic, there's two mics on, gotta choose which one to turn off.
Where do you see that? I'm sorry.
Is there one?
Maybe we just have the one. This just amplifies it and
I know.
whatever mic is
I don't know.
up there. Yeah, whatever mic is up there.
There might just be a delay and you might just have to turn the volume down so you can't hear yourself.
No, I think when I just paused, when I paused it, that stopped, but. I
Okay.
don't know.
Alright. You're alive.
Get the headband on. There's no way.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Oh, I dropped that hair.
The hairband gotta look pretty for the camera.
Fumble today.
Yes, sir.
All right, hey everyone, I'm Thomas Farr, your new president, Clemson Blockchain. For starters, I'd like to thank Lewis up there. He'll be watching this sometime. Thank you for starting the club, leading us up until this point. I owe everything to you, and let's get on with it. I'll start off to introduce myself. I'm a senior in accounting, minor finance. I've been researching crypto since 2017. Maybe if I started buying around then, I wouldn't be here. Maybe I'd be retired somewhere. But here I am. You'll come to meet Joey Meir, our boy. He's got a lot more experience with actually building on crypto, and he'll love to teach you guys about it. But as far as me, I just started learning Python this month. I'm gonna run some small projects, and eventually I'd start building on Web3 and help you guys along the way. Fun facts: my favorite fish is salmon. I've got coho and I've got sockeye waiting on me at home to grub on tonight. Most of you know me if you've been here before. I'm more into like the decentralized finance side of things. So I'm always kind of giving out picks for tokens or presenting about new ideas and such. So here's my like 3 tickers of choice that I've been looking into this year. I'm not going to tell you if I bought any of these. I'm not going to give you any financial advice on these. We have XMR, that's Monero. We have Link for Chainlink and Buck for Buccaneer. I can talk to you guys more about this later on, but let's introduce Joey here. Come on up.
All right, what's up, people? Hi, I'm Joey. Oh, where's the camera? I don't know. Oh, it's up there. Oh, hey, how we doing? I'm Joey. This is a picture of me staring at a computer with pit vipers on. I'm a senior management major, founder of a startup called Stockpile. We do fundraising and grant distribution for Web3 projects and also some initiatives in the real world. Lead DevRel for Solana U. Just held office hours today, so if you're interested, go join the Discord server. Come see me. I'm also a full stack web developer, React, Next, Svelte, and on top of that, Rust and Go. My favorite cheese is mozzarella. Love it on my pizza. And I've almost been hit by the cat bus 3 times. And if you don't know, the cat bus is the bus on campus. Seems to have an affinity for almost killing me. So, yeah.
I'd appreciate that, Joey. All right, so we'll give a quick recap of what's happened in the club. one of my favorite meetings was the Bitcoin is worthless debate with a lecturer at Clemson, Thomas Evans. We put the eyes on him for a little dramatic effect. That was a very engaging, that was one of our biggest turnouts for an event. Very engaging conversation. He came very prepared to speak his case. And we also had an intro to Solana this last spring, sponsored by the Solana U organization. Joey led that discussion, learned a lot about Solana, helped me understand more. I was not much into like the ecosystem, and now I've interacted with more people on Twitter and such, like acquaintances of Joey, come to know them, thanks to all that. And you see this cow logo to the right. We had an interview with Anna George of CowSwap. Also, she is part of Gnosis. So CowSwap is a decentralized exchange. I'll just say they advanced a lot the past few years with like efficient trades, protecting you from scalpers. And your top decentralized exchange, Uniswap, used some of this tech for their latest updates, just to give you a scope of what this little small service was capable of doing. What else do? We had Swash with Seth Olinsky, a alumnus of the school. He was with a company that if you think like Brave browser, where you get paid a little bit for using an internet browser, being paid by token in exchange for the ad viewership instead of blocking the ads. Sort of similar to that, Swash would sell like cookie data and such to these other third parties and such. They would give them the money, they would issue the Swash token and give it to you via an extension. So not like a browser like Brave browser, something just a little different, but same aspect, I guess. And now here's what we can do for the club, and what y'all can get into. So we wanted to make a big push towards development and stuff. I just started learning this month because I also need to get serious about it. Joey's gonna help us a little bit. He's got his own thing going on. Well, among that would be events, hackathons, where you're kind of locked in a house for a couple of days or two, working on like a small project, with big cash prizes and such. Get to meet a lot of cool people, get connections, conferences as well. So our organization's a member of the South Carolina Emerging Tech Association. They have a conference every year, I think end of October. I won't be able to make it, but they usually have like pretty big speakers like securities exchange commissioners, legislators. They're a big lobbying group, accelerator of tech. They're helping set up like some Bitcoin miners in the state. Job connections. I'll be posting links later to the different sites you can look at for job postings. Joey is actually building something to kind of efficiently present you jobs available and such. And those links will like be very plentiful with opportunities, even non-technical jobs that you can find in crypto and Web3. So if you're very passionate, I'd say it's worth it to get in like for internships and such at this point. But among that, we have companies reaching out to us for opportunities and such, not just jobs, but we do small projects. So just yesterday, someone reached out to us about accelerating progress for a scripting language called Move. Facebook came up with them in 2017. They don't have much hype, but there's always people, willing to get that going. So there's like a couple $100 in that if any students are interested. Pretty minor work. We can get into that later.
Side note, it's Rust based, so if anybody listening to this after the fact knows much about Rust, you'll probably be able to transition relatively smoothly to Move.
Perfect. I did not know that. Thank you very much. So you can help them out a little bit with that, with your experience in Rust. Project opportunities. We've talked to a couple people, Joey and I, who they have project ideas. They kind of know where to start, but they don't have the people. So if you're just starting to learn to build, you can possibly get in with that. If it's kind of simple work, or you just keep learning, and eventually you'll be able to get into one of these projects. Research opportunities. I put this meme up for the threaders out there. People would like to just blog about their favorite crypto projects and such. A lot of people do it for ego, for more followers and such, but there are starting to be more projects that want to pay people to talk about the project. Solana U, I went to a meeting this last week, and one of the projects, I can't remember, they're offering $1,000, just write a thread up, like a thread or two every week. So that would maybe be like 10 or less posts on Twitter. So if you know all the details, you can explain it pretty well. Free money, I wouldn't turn that down. I might take that on myself. And another big thing we want to do with this club this year, on-chain treasury. So we get a little bit of money when we want guest speakers to come in, not yet for travel opportunities. But if we were able to have a treasury that's on Solana, for example, we can connect more with these entities, and they would be able to send us this payment, no problem. If you know crypto, you can send money, no problem, without a bank. And that's just, I think, would be a great idea, get money coming in, give us more opportunities, especially for the travel and stuff. Bitcoin Miami is like $2,000 for a ticket. Where obviously I don't care for any of us going to Bitcoin Miami, but yeah, that's to give you an idea, this stuff costs money. And speaking of the on-chain treasury, we have an upcoming first speaker, a new buddy of Joey and I's, Sean Ganser. He founded Squads on Solana. So that's a multi-treasury or multi-sig treasury. They service for, individuals, for institutions, for the decentralized platforms that want to securely hold their money on chain. And we will most likely be using Squads for the purposes of cheap, fast transactions, our connections to these organizations in Solana in general. More about Sean, he graduated out of Polytech, NYU, has experience in web development, and founded other companies, but Squads stuck out, obviously. Was about 170 million. $170 million worth of crypto is not tied up, but locked under these multi-sig wallets with the help of Sean. And he's came to us about some of these project ideas. A lot of what's going on in Solana is DePIN, or decentralized physical infrastructure. So soon enough, there's going to be cell towers provided by a company called Helium. And at some aspect, I could not get into words on it. It'll be backed by Solana, so you can make cheap phone calls, get a cheap service backed by blockchain. And he's got other ideas that not exactly for telecom, but other decentralized infrastructure stuff that could help ag tech. Clemson's very agricultural heavy. And we think we can kind of get those ideas together, get some of you guys more involved, not just on the coding side, on the business side. We always could use like a marketer, we could use an accountant or financer, just things like that. And I guess we just close out presentation. I know one really talked. We got the little questions and stuff, but I can just kind of gauge that, try to reach out to people, gauge that.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's got a lot of, so I guess I'll elaborate a little bit here. Sean's a really smart guy. Like you said, he founded a bunch of different tech companies, and he does a lot more than web development. He's probably one of the smartest guys I've met in space. And Squad Service is probably some of the biggest companies in crypto, at
Mm.
least in terms of actual like decentralized infrastructure. So like not centralized exchanges, but he's got a lot of really good project ideas. Like Tom said, DPIN, he's really huge on that. On top of that too, I mean, if anyone listening to this recording after the fact's interested too, I'm gonna be doing some like end-to-end builds as like tutorials. So if we'd like to just go through, honestly, in some of the meetings, if people are interested, we could just go through and replicate some of them, or I can even do some of them live. These will range from like basic decentralized applications, like I might just build like a mini Lex, like an automated market maker, to maybe a few more complicated builds. So I mean, if anybody's listening to this after the fact and they're in the Discord, or even just drop in the comments what they want to see, I'm gonna be doing them in conjunction with Solana U. So I think our first one is gonna be DPIN, and we're gonna do basically a solar project where we hook up a microcontroller to a solar panel, and we take the wattage readings and mint corresponding tokens every day based on it. And I think that'll be like a pretty good application of both smart contracts on Solana, and then also to working with embedded systems. So good little note on that.
Yeah, opportunities are endless. I guess we can just kind of show Eli a little bit like stuff we kind of look at when we're keeping up with crypto. The people who watch this later, you can kind of pick up a thing or two. My favorite website to look at, DeFi Llama. Good way to pick up who's securing the most value for whatever service, loaning, decentralized exchanges, like automatic market making, liquid staking. That's the big new thing. You can just stake your ether or stake your soul with Lido or another service, and they'll issue a token back representing that stake. And you can do like arbitrage based on that value, or you could loan that, just do whatever, I guess. Yeah, Aave if you're loaning. This is another loaner for Tron. CDP for your stable coin. I'll show you, you can get the value of each chain, or the TVL ranked here. So lately you'll see there's a lot of you have Ethereum, then you have services that uses Ethereum's virtual machine, so it operates like Ethereum, but you don't get the same security guarantees. I'm not going to tell you which one's better or not. Obviously, Ethereum's more complex, so I'd say that better than most of these like very similar ones, like Binance, for example. You have like Arbitrum, they are on top, on a layer on top of Ethereum, so they have their own security guarantees that eventually fall back on Ethereum, but you're at like a slightly higher risk. But the trade-off is you pay less in fees. You can get a faster transaction because they typically like batch transactions to send as a final transaction back onto Ethereum. I might be losing some of y'all. But speaking of Solana, ranked 9, I'd say they're the most diverse out of here. You have Tron, they kind of have their own thing, their own tech going on. But Solana, they kind of do a lot of things their own way. If I remember, they did the liquid staking first and such, because obviously they started out with proof of stake. Ethereum switched from a proof of work model for security to proof of stake. So that's when their liquid staking started.
Yeah, so Marinade was like the first liquid staking. I think that came around in like 2020. So I don't know if somebody can cross check that, but I don't know if it's the first. I think Lido's been doing. Lido might actually be older. I'm not quite sure, but I know Marinade's been around for a while. And I mean, Solana DeFi kind of fell off because a lot of the money on it was Alameda trading. So that's why you see the steep drop off.
Yeah, a lot of these projects, they issued some tokens to like SBF.
Scroll down here. So like Radium was one of the first DeFi protocols, and that was backed by Alameda Research. We know what happened there. If you scroll a little further down, you'll see Serum. Serum was higher up. Right there. I don't know how they're still 10th, but that was what I think is the first central limit order book, which is without getting into the weeds too much, like most DeFi protocols on Ethereum use automated market makers, and they use a certain formula, the constant product formula, because it's more efficient on a chain that can't handle as much throughput. So Serum was the first central limit order book, which more closely mimics like you'd see a normal stock exchange. And that was huge for its time, but that was also backed by FTX. And I don't know why it still has 13 million in it, because we don't know if the keys are compromised or not. So that's kind of concerning, but that was huge for a time. And it got forked into what's called open book now, which is basically just like a fork of Serum. That might be further down because it's a bit newer.
I didn't even know that.
It might not even, oh yeah, there it is, open book.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the fork of Serum. I don't know why it's bugging out now, but that was the fork of Serum that's now being maintained by I think like a team of 2 or 3. It's like a public good now. Scroll down, there might be a few more here that I'm not. Yeah, Mango Markets, Parcel's a cool one. That's a real estate perps protocol, if I remember correctly. So basically you can take directional bets on different cities' real estate markets. So if I thought Chicago is going to shit, then I could bet a short on Chicago, and which I think is pretty cool. So you can take basically directional bets.
I belong to Clemson. That were an option.
One more is Ellipsis Labs, and if I remember correctly, that they run Phoenix, which is an improved version of the central limit order book that Serum pioneered. Basically, without getting into the weeds, like better capital efficiency, and it has its own matching engine that's like custom, so they didn't just fork it from Serum, which is pretty cool. I probably sound like an idiot, so I hope like Jerry's watching this right now and making fun of me, but
The biggest takeaway you can get from this is these apps pretty much run in perpetuity. Even if they fail, there's still going to be some code that runs that people can opt to use if they want to. The same way that they can be open source, that these other developers will try to improve it, or just sometimes they'll just flat out copy it, give it a new name. That would be more like a kind of a scam move. But you can also see a lot of improvements that would be into a whole new contract, possibly a whole new token. So like he said, they improved the open order book model from Serum. I remember Serum and let's see.
so a lot of these don't have tokens, like some of them do, like Mango has a token, I think it's for governance. Open book does not. Saber does. That was a whole nother situation. Short one on that. The guy who built that also built Sunny, which you probably saw in there, and like a bunch of other protocols that were built on top. And he basically masqueraded as 11 different guys and built like 10 protocols to TVL max, which is interesting. And then the last one I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting out here a little bit, but Jito is really interesting as well. So they built basically their own MEV optimized validator client that you could basically run on your validator and it'll automatically collect MEV, which will then be distributed to stakers, hopefully. And they're interesting. They do a lot of crazy stuff that is way over my head, and they're one of probably the smartest teams on Solana, if not crypto in general. So
Yeah, MEV is always a big topic. I've talked a little bit about it, but I tend to talk about protocols, services that try to solve that issue. CalSwap was one of them. If you don't know MEV, So when you submit a trade, so you want to swap Ether for Chainlink token, perhaps on chain, and you go to Uniswap, you'll submit that order and the order goes into a temporary pool where everyone else has submitted their orders. And whoever's mining that next block on the blockchain, they often will prioritize the transaction based on fees, like extra added fees added to the transaction. So you want a quicker trade on Ethereum, you would spend a little more money, but in the case of MEV miners, they'll make another trade, they'll make a trade themselves on these decentralized exchanges that'll provide arbitrage on the price, and they'll skim a couple points off of your trade once that trade gets back to you, essentially. You can fight that by raising your fees. Obviously, you don't want to do that. So there's projects that kind of solve this issue. I know Chainlink's tried to do like a fair sequencing thing.
Flashbots.
Yeah, there's Flashbots, RPC. So you could find like you would find like a website that provides its own node to the blockchain, and you would try to connect your wallet to that, make the trade through that node, and I couldn't explain how, but they would protect you from that trade. So you have, as you said, what'd you say?
What, Flashbots?
Yeah, Flashbots. I always forget the name. Flashbots. That's the most popular one. You don't have to pay anything to use them. But we can show you later on like how to actually set that up if anyone's interested.
So I will say, Solana works a little bit differently to where you don't necessarily specify like your gas fee. So like when I'm making a transaction, the fee's normally flat. Now, what some people will do is they could add a priority fee if they wanted to, and that could be as much as they want. But that doesn't guarantee you're gonna actually make it in the block before. Like if I sent you a transaction, or if me and Eli were sending transactions and you put the normal fee and I added a priority fee, that's not gonna guarantee I go before you. It'll increase my chance, but ultimately it's a first in, first out. So if you say we're like right next to Tom, you're closer to Tom and he's the RPC provider that's gonna forward it to the blockchain, you have a much better chance of getting in the block before me, even if I add a priority fee.
Yeah, not every blockchain is gonna have MEV. Bitcoin, I mean, nah, they can still choose who gets in first. So obviously you pay a higher you're paying for a bigger transaction, you're gonna have a bigger fee.
It could theoretically happen on any chain.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of like how it happens.
There's concerns for censorship based on this. If you only have a couple entities that are producing the blocks via a majority stake or a majority of the physical infrastructure that provides that security. What happened here? I'm getting
Alright, we're getting into the weeds.
yeah,
I'm not gonna
with
lie.
22% down in TVL one day. I'm so confused on what happened there.
So is there anything, Eli, since you're here, is there anything that maybe like you would want to know about that maybe you heard about, either something we said or something you've heard like out in the wild?
I've been trying to think of like a very specific question to ask, but I feel like I have so many that it's like, I don't think.
Just start spitting them. We're just sitting here anyway, just scrolling through DeFi Llama.
I don't understand the category. Like, what does it mean by categories?
So you'll have protocols like Aave there, like
Yeah.
you see where people will deposit and then it'll be automatically lent.
Yeah.
So that's like a lending protocol. And then you'll have like DEXs, which is a decentralized exchange that uses like the automated market maker like I was telling you about.
Okay.
And then what was that last one? Liquid staking. Liquid staking will be like for some networks, you'll stake tokens in a validator to secure the network. It's almost like collateral to make sure that validator doesn't start posting phony transactions. So what that'll do is that
when you stake, your token is locked up.
Mhm.
So with liquid staking, you can stake it and you can get a derivative token that is supposed to appreciate in the value of whatever return you get from staking.
Yeah, I have to do more research on what each individual category is.
Yes, yeah, some of these, like you don't have to trade to make money. You can either loan, make a couple percents. When there's a bull market, no financial advice. When there's a bull market, you'll get pretty good rates on something like stable coins where you have a very good safety from like default risk or risk of uncollateralization. If you have something like stable coins, which are backed by dollars, you could loan those, get higher percentages from your legacy institutions. That would be more in a bull market, still pretty competitive in a bear market. So as long as you're using one of these top chains, top apps where there's a lot of volume and such. So Aave, I couldn't tell you how much is on Ethereum. But Aave's got 4 billion at least. That could just be Ethereum, but maybe across these different chains. What else? Curve, I've talked about them. That'd be your main one for the stable coins. You would trade your alt tokens, your shit coins on Uniswap. That's the most popular. That's where you're gonna find the available pools. But Curve, since they charge a much lower fee, like a base fee for using that protocol, not just the fee for Ethereum, they charge a much lower fee, so it's more popular to do the dollar, or euro now, pound now, I think. Those are more experimental, obviously. The Curve's pretty big. They started a model where your underlying token of the protocol is not only helping you vote on what goes on in the protocol, but you get some sort of fee share out of the people who actually trade on it. So that kind of started a big boom in other apps trying to maximize the value extracted from these services. Curve gives you options for like very long lockups in order to get more tokens. So kind of like the liquid staking Convex here under them, you would put your Curve token into their service. They'll give you a derivative and you can just do it, like loan that back to them, loan that to whoever. And this isn't like, I've said before, it's not like a vampire where they're trying to suck all the liquidity, all the usage out of Curve. It just kind of maximizes the efficiency of the user actually participating, if that makes sense. Like Curve finance team has members that also work on Convex. What else could we look at? We can kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. Like getting into the weeds.
No, I saw some confused by what the categories are.
Yeah, so you have your smart contracts. So Bitcoin started out as Bitcoin started like the whole peer-to-peer decentralized transactions, and then somewhere along the way people wanted more programmability from blockchains. So Ethereum started where you could start loaning, you could start with the decentralized exchanges. A lot of those were, like Uniswap started out with a small team not affiliated with Ethereum, but Ethereum was able to provide that, by having its own scripting language, just other things. I'm not your expert.
We don't speak of solidity in here. Nah, basically like you think about like AWS.
Okay.
How people will run
Their programs, their systems through AWS
they'll run their programs and their systems. You could think about
and the cloud storage.
yeah, you could think of sort of Ethereum like that, but decentralized,
Yep.
where people will write these executable little bits called smart contracts.
And then can you hit like Ethereum or anyone, and then. Far left, that's called a chain.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right, so
each
like
one's its
Lido
own,
is a chain,
yeah, each one's its own.
No, Lido,
and then they have 5 chains within Ethereum.
Or no, the service would provide for 5 different chains.
Got it.
So some of those are,
Okay.
some of them aren't exactly sovereign blockchains, or they'll be built on top of Ethereum or something like that. And it's like it'll be identical technically, but it's each own set of code. And oracles, you know, Chainlink's my favorite. We don't gotta get into that. Airdrops, I was able to get, I should have included that in the presentation, just like pointers on apps and stuff. Like if you use like a certain blockchain that I referenced, that didn't have a token initially, and then they dropped the token, is most likely they gave you some tokens and it had substantial value that you can exchange for money or for your dollar or do whatever with it. And I'd say maybe like based on my recommendations of stuff to use before they had a token, you can maybe got like $300 to $500. Not financial advice. I'll say these are like penny, you could be making penny trades. You don't even have to trade on those chains necessarily. They've incentivized people using totally different chains, like Optimism, for example. I did not use Optimism, but I used Phantom, and because they wanted to incentivize the people who were priced out of transacting on Ethereum mainnet and transacting on an alternative, they would give you some tokens so that, you know, you could consider using Optimism. That was, I think that alone, only about 350. Sold it before it jumped a little bit. I could have got $500 out of it. I'm still happy with that, obviously. I traded like a couple NFTs. Like, I'll never tell you guys to trade NFTs. I traded a couple, and I used a trade aggregator, so I didn't have to interact with OpenSea's website. I could interact with a protocol on top of it, kind of, that makes these trades more efficient for me. And Coinbase, Uniswap acquired that service to broker these NFT transactions themselves, and they gave you flat out 300 USDC instead of their own token. And Arbitrum, I pointed that out before they had a token. CalSwap, I interviewed Anna George, and that was maybe like $50, wasn't too much. I wouldn't tell you, probably shouldn't be telling you guys too much. There's all these different things that a lot of different ramifications for owning certain tokens. We have the SEC calling into question even like these main blockchains, whether they are issuing a security when they issue a token for mining it, yada yada. But I will tell you like what the utility you can get out of the tokens, because that's what's deliberately promised. Some will give you fee share, some will give you protocol voting. Side note, don't expect an absolute power with that vote. The developers are still going to write code. You're not writing the code. They can put up whatever proposal, and if it looks good on paper, people will vote on that. And it could just be wrong. Like it could end up not working out well. And for example, Arbitrum, a lot of their token is involved with governance, and they put up a vote on an update, and they went ahead with the update with like before the vote ended. They went on with that update. So obviously people are calling the question, how these chains, how these services issue their tokens and stuff. Obviously safer option would be to go the ones with fee share. If you have something like Ethereum, where you have some sort of determined inflation or a determined turnaround on the fees earned, that would be something I would recommend if you were interested in that, not for a money gain. That'd be for just a token utilization. Cool. Huh? That's cool. Well, I'm just rambling now. I'll probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're kind of moving around.
So as I learn development and stuff, I'll provide services, like I'll provide like resources that'll help you guys get started. Obviously connect you guys to jobs, potentially, projects. You can work for foundations that aren't like business entities. You could work for business entities. And what else we got going on? Yeah, I guess we could just wrap it up now.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys in the next meeting. I'll probably put up some like small tutorials on like DeFi perhaps. I don't know if I should be covering full meetings about like DeFi or like blockchain basics. Obviously that interests some of you guys.
If you could send like a YouTube video or like
Yeah.
other resources just for the basics, that would definitely help. because
Yeah, I might
think
not-
we're just flat out.
Yeah, I might not film much of these videos myself. I can
Just
just
get like the basics down, like the basic.
I can just show you guys some of these videos I find on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll help you guys out. Yeah. We call it a day. Thank you guys so much.